first pathway we'll talk about is the path of intellect, Thomistic prayer. And the two saints that were talked about for these pathways are St. Thomas Aquinas, and he is one of the great teachers of the medieval Catholic Church, honored with titles Doctor of the Church and Angelic Doctor. He was a preeminent spokesman of the Catholic tradition of reason and of divine revelation. Has anybody read any of his writings by any chance? A few of you. So as you can tell, very much into faith and reason, that he would need to understand in order to, be drawn into faith. It wasn't just a faith grounded on, love alone, which is fine as well, but for Thomas, he really wanted to, ground that in a more scholastic approach. He said, "To one who has faith, no explanation is necessary. To one without faith, no explanation is possible," which I thought was a very interesting quote from him. And we can look to Thomas as a towering example of Catholicism in the sense of broadness, universality, and inclusiveness. And he's a patron saint of Catholic schools, colleges, schools, and students, which is very fitting for how he lived his life and what was important to him. So the other saint that is talked about in this pathway, the pathway of intellect, is Teresa of Avila. And she was beautiful, talented, outgoing, adaptable, compassionate, courageous, but very disciplined. She was a mystery of paradoxes, wise yet practical, intelligent yet much in tune with her experience, a mystic yet an energetic reformer, but her heart belonged to God. She was a woman of prayer, a woman for God. The quote I chose from her to talk about today is, "We can only learn to know ourselves and do what we can, namely, surrender our will and fulfill God's will in us." Her writings, especially The Way of Perfection and The Interior Castle, have helped generations of believers. Has anybody read either of those? I've read The Interior Castle. I haven't read The Way of Perfection. And it talks about prayer being, like this interior castle, and you enter into the furthest portion of the castle, the closer you get to God. So it's a wonderful book on prayer. She was a doctor of the church, one of the few women, and she knew well the continued presence and value of suffering. Not only was she physically ill, but she also, and that's why the work of the Interior Castle and The Way of Perfection came about, she felt very often blocked in prayer. And so wonderful if you are feeling dry in your prayer to read some of her writings. And interesting, I did not know this until doing some research, she's the patron saint of headaches. So I thought that was very interesting. I was like, wow, did not know that.